Coming up on the dirty side of the track this week. Andy's looking forward to Super Bowl commercials.
I'm just expecting them to be a nothing burger, really.
Ooh. Az has been spying on Adrian Newey.
Maybe someone should have thought about putting a propeller of Lance Stroll's hat to it.
And Lee's not sure that Brian's t-shirt fits.
A little bit of struggle getting into it. And
Hey now, welcome to the Dirty Side of the Track, America's leading Formula One podcast. That's Rob, I'm Brian. Thanks for joining us this week. We have an awesome episode planned with members of our Discord server. Rob, how you doing, buddy?
I'm loving it. It's one of my favorite episodes of the year that we do. We just have a good fun, and we've just finished recording. Now we're doing this part, so we're kind of doing it in reverse order, but who cares? It means that we know what we just recorded. We know it was a great time. Yes. Lots of laughs, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Stick around. We get serious, and then we just, as inevitably happens, we start goofing around. So you're going to want to be there for it.
Sorry, 1 second. I got a call coming in. Hello? Oh, it's the internet calling. Apparently everyone needs to like and subscribe. So please get on that.
Especially if it's YouTube, do it.
You don't need to say that, Brian. People understand the like and subscribe.
I'm sending them over there from podcast platforms.
Wherever people like to listen to us the most. If you're on a podcast platform, by the way, then what also helps us out is if you want to give us a little 5 stars and write a comment. It's not all about the YouTube, but it's all about the iTunes and Spotify. We love everything. Anybody that listens to us and takes the time to listen to us on whatever platform, we love you. We thank you. Thank you very much.
Agreed. So, what does today's episode look like, my friend?
It is news and social. Not a huge amount this week to catch our eye. We're still kind of in the post-shakedown nothingness until real testing is back up. Full of entries into the video vault, and then it will be over to talk to the Discord crew, and that, as they say, will be that. So, you do the first one here because you rated it, and I've got to think about what my rating is now. Yeah,
so liveries. We're back on aisle livery. Kind of figuring out what we're seeing here. This week, the Williams livery dropped, and it has a very similar feel to it in terms of the dark blue and the layout of the coloring of the car. Some of the differences, Barclays has a light blue on the side pod that is a very noticeable part. And interestingly, not to reference the Discord too much, but on the Discord, we talk about the liveries. And Nimrod, who couldn't join us for the episode this year, he liked it. And a lot of folks were agreeing with him, thumbs up, thought it popped nicely and looked good. I did not, but I also have to give an honest note why. I have trouble with blues and greens. And to me, it's a light blue, which is heading into green territory for me. I am colorblind. And I did not know that for a very long time until my wife and I were dating in college. And she kept asking me why I was wearing a blue shirt on every St. Patrick's Day. I go, what are you talking about? This is the only green shirt I have. She's like, that's blue. And I'm like, it's green. And I walked around and asked all my friends. They're like, no, it's blue, man. I'm like, what? And so I was, 20 some odd years old when I learned I was colorblind.
Okay.
So I
can understand them because I love this Williams livery. Okay. It's one of my favourites. The Barclays blue really works really well with the Williams blue as long as you can acknowledge it's blue. So I understand, it doesn't really
I'm
work
being honest,
for you. So
6.5 for me.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
My right. Cones and rods couldn't process. But so we'll see some more coming soon. We'll see Cadillac. Today we're recording on Saturday. Tomorrow is the Super Bowl, or as I like to say, the Superb Owl, and I cannot wait because Caddy is dropping their livery. I still hear halftime, but someone was recently saying fourth quarter now. Regardless, the commercial will be out, and it'll have the Caddy livery. And the cool part that Rob reported on last week is they have a big box in Times Square with their car in it, and that will open as the commercial airs, and their car will be in Times Square for a day. With the new livery. I can't wait. I'm so excited because it's a clean slate. We don't know what it could be.
Do you think the box will get jammed and it won't open?
Oh, gee, I sure
Please
hope
don't, because that could be like a little bit indicative of how they might perform. But no, I hope it all goes smoothly. It all goes brilliantly. Looking forward to that livery. And then we've had McLaren have announced when they're going to do theirs. Monday, February the 9th in Bahrain at 3 p.m, and I think we discussed either during the Discord or after it while we were chatting. That pretty much just leaves Aston Martin, I think, for the reveal. So,
but we
almost
pretty
all
much
there.
know McLaren will be papaya, and Aston Martin will be like green, a British racing green variant, and so we'll see what they are. That's why Caddy's so exciting to me. It could be anything. It could be
Pink.
orange, could
Pink
be
Cadillac.
white, could be pink. A pink Cadillac. That would be so cool. They should have got BWT as a sponsor. There would have been something there, man. We talk about this in the Discord part, so I'm just going to hold it to then. But Lewis has a new girlfriend. Tune into that section to hear our thoughts. We'll leave it there. And Jack is back. Jack Doohan signed with Haas as a reserve driver, joining Ryo Hirakawa. Now they now have 2 drivers in the reserve role, but I'm happy for Jack to be back in some capacity on the grid. I still feel like he got kind of a raw deal the way Alpine moved with him.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to have like a little redemption arc for him here. It'd be nice to actually see him get into the Haas seat eventually and then stick it to Alpine.
It would be nice. It would be nice. But light news week. Anything else for you, Rob, until we hit the video vault?
No, I think open it up and let's see what you found this week.
So, as I was scouring the internet for social media content, especially videos, one dropped on Sunday, right as we dropped our episode, and it was Ted and Craig predict the F1 2026 pecking order so far on the Sky Sports F1 channel, 5 minutes. We tried to be careful and not take too much from Shakedown until I decided that Lance Stroll was going to be a world champion. Before that, we'd done a good job not doing that. Bernie Collins listened to her inner voice and said, I'm not going to do any predictions based on Shakedown. But Ted and Craig couldn't help themselves, and they effectively said the same things we did, which proves nobody knows anything, and we're just seeing a Mercedes engine, which is supposed to be good. And they were bulletproof, and they ran a lot of laps, and Lewis had a fast time, and so they effectively mirrored what we thought. And they both stumbled with Williams. Didn't know what to do with Williams, not just because we don't know, but because we all want good things from Williams.
Yep.
But they missed Shakedown. So, anyway.
Is that the same Ted that likes to try to pass off Cadillac Corner as his own?
Stealing our stuff.
Okay.
Stealing our stuff. And then the second video, Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas talk new Cadillac F1 team style and mullets on the Esquire, I missed an S there, on the Esquire UK channel, because I was really searching for content. Teams were pretty quiet. I had to go get it. This was fun. It's only 3 minutes, but it was fun. Like, I'm really starting to appreciate the vibe that these two are kind of giving off with each other. Like, there's a very relaxed, chill, supportive, but also like, we know we're good. Let's just see what the car can do kind of vibe coming. And the mullet conversation was excellent. And Valtteri was trying to encourage Checo to grow a mullet himself. So anyway,
have we landed on the name for them yet? Valgio, Checkass. Oh, Checkass. I don't know.
We'll work on that. I think we can find.
But by the way, they as I was pinging you and Paul on WhatsApp, they dropped their merch, and it's sweet. There's a lot. I was going over that store and I got so close to putting things in my basket. I sent Brian the Valtteri cap. It's Tommy Hilfiger, right? That they're partnered up with. And as you can imagine, A, everything looks really, really super cool. B, everything costs $1 million.
I mean, it does, but it doesn't. A hat for $55 before tax and shipping is a lot of money. However, for anyone who's not been to a GP, Rob and I were new a couple years ago, hats there are $80 or more.
True.
So, like,
if I wait and buy it there,
you're going to pay double. But I guess there's no shipping because you can just hand the vendor to you and put it on your head. But, yeah, I hear you. Any videos for you, my friend, before I close the vault?
No, I got nothing. You slam that door up.
I shall do so. All right, as Rob and I have already referenced, this week is the Discord episode. It is one of our favorites every year. We open it up to anybody on the Discord to join, and we had 3 folks who were able to make it, and you'll hear me in about 1 minute's time introducing the episode. One of our annual favorite episodes, the Discord episode, is here, and I am so thrilled to welcome Lee, Andy, and Az with joining Rob and I. We're very happy you three guys are here. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Pleased to be here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Hey now to you too.
I'll try to do the job of two. Sorry, as Nimrod says in apologies, my son, that he can't make it. He gave me some great pointers, and I'll make sure I adjust them.
Sounds
great.
You've
messed up there because you should have passed them off as your own, and then you would have turned up to one of these looking knowledgeable for once.
No. It's really important what happens next.
Okay. Anyway.
Shots fired.
Shots fired early by Rob. This episode is the Discord Crystal Ball. We're sitting here in early February before the 26th season, and I am curious what you all kind of see coming. We're going to do sort of three prongs to this. The first one is a little more fact-based, a little more what you actually think will happen. And I can't wait to get everyone's perspective, but what do you guys see happening in 26 from a teams, drivers? There's so many unknowns, right? So this is a chance to really knock it out of the park and get it right. Who do you see getting the regs right? Who do you see missing? We're going to start on my screen to the left with Lee. Lee, would love your thoughts, what you see happening in 26.
Well, I think judging on the early running, Mercedes actually looked very good. They were the only team to complete all their 200 kilometers during their pre-Barcelona shakedown. 500 laps, not 502, Rob. During Barcelona shakedown, totals 1,447 miles already complete on that engine. 2,322 and a half for those who could do kilometers. So I think they look very, very good. Ferrari also looked good, but I have recently heard of rumors that their engine energy management may come into question during longer, fast runs. So whether that hampers their race pace, we shall see. But my money will be on Mercedes this year, I think.
So you're going all in on the shakedown, which famously means nothing.
I'm going on reliability rather than speed on this one.
Okay, so you're going against the Horner clip that Brian played last week of I'd rather make a fast car reliable than make a reliable one fast, or whichever way around it was.
At the minute, yeah.
Okay.
Lee, do you take that and filter that down to customer teams? Is it an engine thing alone, or is it the engine they've built with their aero and their package and their chassis?
I will come back to that later on.
Oh. So
I already got one for part 3 on that one.
Oh, wow. Wow, look at that. Racking up the teaser trailers.
Somebody made his homework.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, by the way, for regular listeners, you'll know that every time there's an entry in either News and Social or the Video Vault, it's quite often tagged to Lee of Discord fame. So this is Lee of Discord fame.
Hi.
There he is, yes. Right, okay, let's go round. I'm a fan of clockwise, so let's go to Az is on my screen. Where are you seeing, where you put your money for the title this year? Or not even the title, just who's going to do well and nail the regs?
Well, because the shakedown and the pre-season drives are so meaningful, I decided to go with science this time. So I'm again resorting to my gut feel. My gut feel is going to be that Adrian Newey is going to not surprise us and get a decent car. Okay, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think at least initially they're going to be competitive. I don't think there's anybody better at interpreting the regs and finding cars for them. I think everybody will catch up afterwards, but they're going to have some initial advantage. My heart wants to say that McLaren's going to do well again this year. Yes, Andy, but I think in general, kind of, I don't know if the 16 compression ratio versus 18 compression ratio that Mercedes allegedly have found a loophole in the regs is going to just make everything disappear and therefore actually make them not that hot. I think essentially the big boys will remain the big boys or the big girls because that's what they're good for. and I think it'll be interesting. I fully expect Ferrari to throw some curveballs with some external combustion engines, etc. So really looking forward to it.
The old external combustion engine from Ferrari. I love it. As I have a question for you. So you mentioned Adrian Newey. You talk about Aston Martin, and this is sort of a serious question. I made the idea last week that if Aston does hit the regs and the car is good, that Papa Bear Stroll says to Fernando, you got to let Lance take this thing home. He's my boy. I'm paying you. You'll be a brand ambassador forever. Something like that. Rob thinks that's the craziest story I've ever told. Where are you at, Az? Do you think if that is a rocket ship and we see, both of them doing well, do they prioritize Lance first at any point, or will that never, ever, never happen?
I think, given the weather in the Midwest in the last couple of weeks, I think it explains your thinking. So,
that's pretty good. We actually, it's for a fact, we went above freezing for the first time in 20 days yesterday.
Fahrenheit, right? For us, using
Fahrenheit,
normal systems in Fahrenheit. So it's
freezing is freezing.
15, minus 10?
0
freezing is
for
freezing
you,
as
32 for us. But yeah, we went above freezing for the first time in 20 days. So maybe that's what's wrong with my brain, and I'm the only person who thinks that would ever happen.
I mean, it would be lovely, but no.
Have you ever heard any interview with Alonso ever? Or
I agree.
Paid any attention?
Yes, and I remember him at McLaren, and I've watched him over the years, and his love of Lewis and the way they worked well together, and yeah.
It was what Jenson Button revealed. That back in he was racing alongside Alonso in the Honda days at McLaren, and whenever Jenson was beating Fernando and had got 2/3 through the race, Jenson would say, "Oh, there's sudden loss of power," and the engineer would come over the radio, "No, nothing from our end." And Fernando would go, "No, it's broken. I'm retiring." And Jenson says, he would just retire so that the head-to-head stats always said that Jenson never beat him when they both finished the race. So to expect him to roll over and throw away a championship for his teammate is
I can't resist it.
What
if expect him to stroll over?
Yes.
Anyway, come on, Andy. You've not given us your other than
Andy's
mocking Brian, which we love.
That was good. I thought we were making fun of Rob. I thought that was the deal that we came in with, but that's okay.
I'm not the one that said Lance Stroll world champion, so you brought it on yourself, buddy.
My check's not cleared yet, so there we go. My pick, well, it's too early, but let's do crazy and pick something anyway. I think the rumors are all about Mercedes having got their engine doing clever things. So it's very hard to count Mercedes out, and especially with the reliability they've already shown, they've got to be my pick. I think McLaren could be there as well. They've shown over the past few years that despite being a customer team, they are able to compete and even beat the works team of Mercedes. So I'd put them in the mix. Beyond that, I've not seen anything to suggest that it's worth considering anyone else. But as said, the top teams are the top teams for a reason, and you can't write off Red Bull and Ferrari yet. There's a good chance they'll be around.
So, question for you, Andy, because I'm going to ask you a question that I have no idea if it's got any grounding in reality whatsoever. But this year, what are we down to? Is it 50-50 between engine and the battery now? Are they gone equal this year on the regs? Someone nod. I think it roughly.
Sure.
Let's pretend it is. I know they've upped the amount of electrical power this year compared to the engine. So, if you nail your new active aero setup and you've got a much better battery harvesting and whatever you do on the electrical side of the shop, do we really think that 2 horsepower under compression of 16 to 18 is really going to make that big a difference on the engine side?
15 is what some people are saying it could be in terms of extra horsepower.
But some people got their tinfoil hats on. No
some
one really.
20. I've discounted
said
20. Okay, but yeah.
But most people said 2, right?
Well, sorry, the compression. Sorry, but given that the engine isn't the be-all and end-all anymore now, do we actually think
it's not the be-all and end-all? Where do you think the electrical energy comes from?
It's
no,
tires.
What I mean
tires
is,
are the
it's
thing.
not. back in the day when we didn't have batteries strapped onto the engines and it was all about your internal combustion engine, and it really won't be this year, right? Because it's going to be a bigger reliance on when you can deploy your battery, when you can, and all this kind of good stuff.
But you've got to be able to
Do
charge
you
your
thi-
battery.
Yes, you have, but most of that's under braking anyway. So who cares about this extra power? I just starting to think, are we all just leaning into this whole? Oh my God, Mercedes have won it because they got a magic engine trick, and I don't buy
And
it.
I mean,
can I just add
yes.
that today I have seen stories about FIA changing the Mercedes hot test or testing to hot testing, not ambient testing.
They can't do that.
They told Mercedes to fix the problem and align with everybody else's technology. So there's some gentle hand slapping there, and I'm getting that from my intelligence and not from myself. So that's
So
okay. Rob, I get that the temperatures on your side of the States are also very cold, and you do look to have bumped your head saying the engine's not important.
No, I didn't say not important. I said not as important as it used to be when that was all that there was pushing a car forward.
These cars
it'd
are
be
an engine with a bit of
interesting to
stuff
see.
around it.
If it's not a bit of stuff these days, is it? This 2026 is going to be the biggest move towards a split between gasoline and battery power. So it'd just be interesting. I'd be interested to see if somebody flies under the radar and has got some cool little trick to harvest more power in a better way that no one else has thought of. And actually, it's the energy side of things that becomes the deal breaker, not what's going on in a spark plug and a cylinder.
My understanding is that it's going to be difficult for teams to fully charge their batteries to actually use the allowable electrical energy round every lap. If you've got extra energy or extra horsepower in your ICE, that's going to mean you're going to be traveling faster on the straight. That means you can harvest more under braking.
Yeah, maybe.
That extra energy in the ICE is going to add extra energy in the battery as well, I suspect.
Yeah. Like I said, I asked it not having no idea what the right answer is to that
and
one.
I do think it's worth.
Sudden...
Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, and then also the active aero thing. We were talking the other week about, what happens. Are people going to start driving into the front of people on purpose just to take the front flap out? And I mean, I don't know. I just think we're going to see a lot of failures around the active aero this year as well.
I am excited for one thing though, and it is the fact that I hear you, Rob, but I would disagree a bit as well. If I get your point that it's not just the internal combustion engine. And so it's less of a one-man show on the horsepower out of that. However, if a car makes 1,000 horsepower, let's say, and it's a 50-50 split-ish, let's say, 500 horsepower out of the engine and 500 out of the battery and the electrical engine, or however this may work, it's 15 horsepower is actually a bigger amount on 500 than out of 1,000 if there were no battery drive. So I think it could be a big deal, but I am curious. Lee mentioned this. I was reading a lot of rumors early today as well that they may change a lot of different things from how it's tested to even the fuel they may be using. I don't think that can happen. I don't think that can be allowed. They set the rules. Mercedes followed the rules. You changing them at this point seems like a lot of sour grapes by a lot of teams who didn't figure that out. But crazier things have happened.
They couldn't. I don't think they could risk it because let's just say they changed the rule now. Now Mercedes have to rebuild an engine to comply with about a month before the race and
with the cost cap
and not breach the cost cap.
Right.
I mean, you'd end up having Mercedes just not bother racing and say, "Well, we're not coming then."
Cadillac, on the other hand, I think has nailed it. Sorry, just promoting the shirt. Promoting the shirt. You can always count on me. Okay, so
maybe someone should have thought about putting a propeller or Lance Stroll's hat to harvest more energy to power. Maybe that's the trick, Rob.
I guess any other 26 notes before we kind of move into other parts of the crystal ball? Anything else you guys want to highlight that you think is going to happen? As I see you're interested to jump in.
I just want to say new regs, new cars are shuffled. Exciting. That's it.
My last little thing that I will just throw into this, just because again, I don't even know if I agree with what I was saying. I just wanted to throw it out there as a discussion point about the engine. But did you know from a quick Google that Red Bull last year had a peak horsepower of 1,020 and Mercedes peak was 1,000 in that McLaren, but they won the title and beat Red Bull. So how much does that horsepower really matter? Yeah. Discuss.
At what point in the season? Because I seem to recall that Max Verstappen was doing quite well towards the end.
Yes.
Beating quite a lot of Mercedes teams. Am I right?
Yeah, but not all the way through. Did he win it? Is he the world champion as?
Well, he
I think
came
Andy
second,
sat
didn't
in
he,
front of the
after being
McLaren.
like a million miles behind everyone?
Yeah, and he had a higher horsepower. He should have won the whole thing.
I heard the rumor that those 20 horsepower just came in the last 4 races.
Oh, you just made
I
that
made that
completely
rumor.
on the spot.
I've heard that rumor as well, actually. I heard it just now.
I heard it now. Oh, man.
Brilliant.
That is good. That is good. All right. So
I
then,
don't even know where we are anymore now, Brian. What's going on?
I don't know. One of the questions I do have that as we look at 26, what dramatic flair will the 2026 season bring us? And you don't have to make something up that's crazy. This isn't necessarily last year's bold prediction. But what's something that's going to happen that in 27 Drive to Survive will highlight? We'll build an episode around. Curious your guys' thoughts on what we should be watching for, maybe either on-track drama or off-track drama that gets people's attention. And
let's go reverse order then, and let's go Andy first this one.
Andy, let's start with you.
They're going to have to be following Mercedes and talking about the story of the upstart youngster taking it to his more experienced teammate, and obviously if Mercedes, as we're expecting, dominating everything, then it's all going to be about Antonelli with his, youthful and what's the word, devil-may-care recklessness, taking it to the calm and collected, experienced George Russell.
So long as he can get his European season in check.
Yeah, fair point.
So you're visualizing some kind of moody sort of episodes where we've got George looking a bit upset because maybe the youngster was beating him a few times. It's his year, it's George's year, but then you've got little Kimmy kind of giving it some.
Yeah, and Antonelli beats Russell in one race, and suddenly it's a massive story about how he's going to come and he's caught up with George and is going to be ahead of him. And yeah, I don't know.
That is actually fascinating. I would be. When you think of it, the rearrangement of any team order, and I don't mean team orders, but the number 1, number 2 in teams, whether declared or not. So basically, Andy's doing a prediction like I did with Lance Stroll. So but we're the same, man. We're just the same. You just admit it. No one agrees.
I'm
Moving
not
on.
actually expecting it to happen, though. I'm just expecting Netflix to pretend it is.
But even if they pretend, I would still right now say there is more chance of Kimi Antonelli taking it to George Russell this year than Lance Stroll winning the title because Fernando's told to move over.
Well, I don't know about that. They could let him go. I could see them firing him just so that he doesn't get any more points. Moving on, because that's not going to happen. Andy, thank you. Az, how about you? What's a dramatic flair you're looking for in 26?
Well, so given the fact I've watched exactly 0 minutes of Drive to Survive in all its history, in all its previous 6 seasons, I think I can come as an expert and say I have no clue in that respect. But I think if I kind of move that aside and think what interesting stories are developing, obviously Cadillac is an interesting story, right? Will they, won't they? On the back of, we don't need to see your chest again. So, thank you for that shirt. No, but it's an interesting story. And, after the F1 movie, when we see you can be a 26th on the grid and still in the last 2 laps come first, I think that might be a story that they might want to explore. And I do think that, the new regs, will the new propeller on Lance Stroll's hat will generate more energy, but other than that, I honestly don't know.
So I agree with you, Az, because I think that they could easily do. I know. Check your watch. It's that one time a year that I agree with you, Az. I think a Cadillac episode makes sense, especially maybe the build up to Miami, the first home race of Cadillac in the US. Cadillac will probably go cheesy American. Yeah, they'll probably go way over the top, and there'll be some big story with Valtteri and Checo doing shenanigans in Miami. So it doesn't even matter if they perform well or not. I think there will be a big Miami hurrah episode. There we go. Pencil that one in. Netflix 27, Cadillac, build up to Miami.
Send me the check.
Lee, how about you? What do you see happening in 26 that draws attention from the Drive to Survive producers?
So I also had notes about the Cadillac and the Audi preparations for the season. Okay. I wonder whether they will actually include Lewis this year in his second year of Ferrari, first year with the new regs. Obviously, he didn't have the best season last year. Can he actually get on with his car, which it sounds like he is a little bit at the minute? So he sounds happier. will they feature Lewis a bit more? I hope so.
I have to ask you, have you seen the news about Lewis in the last 24 to 36 hours about who he's dating?
I have.
So then the answer is yes, 100% they will be following Lewis, either whether he sits for an interview or not. And for those who don't know, he's rumored to be, and by rumored, there are many photos of them together, Kim Kardashian, which now requires an entire, I'm sorry, brother, requires an entire episode about Lewis and Kim and all of the wags. I definitely see this happening. So whether he sits for an interview and they talk to him or not.
Rob just clicked.
There's a really awful pun that can be like, if Lewis does well and wins a race and we've got, like, when you're dashing because it's fast, car, flashy. Oh, no, I'm going to leave it. There's an awful...
It'll be the whole Nicole Scherzinger episodes again.
Yeah, exactly.
The worry for me here is I'm an NFL fan, and, the Travis Kelce and what's-her-face.
Taylor Swift,
Yeah, I didn't want to say the name of...
Oh, sorry.
So...
Well, you
Shake
didn't.
it off. Shake it off, Az.
Rob, I'll avoid doing the game now, but I'll stay the mature man. So I just don't want to see the Kardashian images all the time rather than seeing stuff action.
I don't either. And I know there are people out there who enjoy keeping up with the Kardashians, who enjoy the show, the brand, the whatever.
I'd be worried because, that didn't do well for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it might do bad for Lewis, all the attention.
Well,
anyway.
The real question is if Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and couldn't play, Lindsey Vonn tore hers and she's skiing in the Olympics. So that's really, is Patrick Mahomes that soft? But moving on from the Chiefs and the NFL back to Formula One. Lee, I like that. I like the question about Lewis, sort of his second year at Ferrari. What does that mean and how is that covered? I also like your idea about Audi. We talked about Caddy, but we really haven't talked a lot about Audi. What do you just out of curiosity, do you see them, Audi, having a good year, a bad year? Like, where are they? Are they at the bottom of the pack sniffing for a point every now and then, or no chance?
I see them doing okay. It might take them a couple of races to get into the swing of it. Obviously, they still have the Sauber team behind what they were.
Right.
But the Audi processes might be slightly different, so they might have a little bit of struggle getting into it. And that engine, which is obviously new for them this year, is probably their only question mark, really. How good is it? How reliable is it? How does it compare with the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull powertrains? That's going to be the key indicator, I think.
I totally agree. I think that's great. Andy and Az, I'm actually curious. Andy, I'll start with you. Where do you see Audi this year? We end up getting kind of, I won't stand up and show my chest again for the T-shirt, the Caddy T-shirt. But where do you see Audi? I mean, and it is so early. We know so much from the shakedown, but I'm kind of curious. Good, bad, and different?
Looking at the difference between Aston Martin and Audi of teams who've kind of been taken over by someone else, and we've seen all of the money that's been invested by Aston Martin in the premises, in their factory, in staff. I haven't heard any big stories of what Audi's been doing. It feels to me just like they're taking over Sauber and rebadging it, and they gave it a couple of years to try and get a little bit of investment to move them a little bit further up because they didn't want to have Audi finishing last in every race. But I've just not heard anything coming out that makes me believe they're going to suddenly jump up towards the front of the grid. So I'm assuming they're still going to be down the back, especially the brand new engine. All the other teams have been developing engines for a year. I mean, Red Bull powertrain is a relatively new one, but in reality, they took on all the Honda staff who developed the previous engine. And Honda, for Aston Martin, presumably they've got some of the staff from back in there doing the Red Bull engines. So I've not heard anything about, Audi getting in Andy Carroll after he left Mercedes a few years ago or anything. It's just, I'm just expecting them to be a nothing burger, really.
Ooh, nice nothing burger reference.
Well done.
Brian, what's your Netflix episode? Because I gave my Miami build-up caddy one. You're the only one who hasn't done one yet. So what's your Netflix drama?
I think it's going to be looking at contracts and the future. I think they're going to gin up some fake thing about drivers moving teams. we had such a quiet 25 into 26 that it feels like, and I get Lewis to Ferrari the year prior was nuts, but it was like the beginning of the year. So I really think we're going to see a push back on the silly season aspect of drivers and seats, regardless of contract status, because we found that that doesn't always matter. That can
Well,
be
everyone's
amended
out of contract this year anyway, aren't they?
Most people are out of contract this year. So I think we're going to get a really heavy dose of, the fake George and Toto behind a dumpster talking about a contract situation, and then they take it from there, and then they have Carlos reenact it with James in the room, and we that was fake. We're going to see more of that, is my guess. That's my episode, Rob.
Okay.
I have a question.
Right, we're
Can we
moving
go
on
back
to
for Audi for a second.
Yeah.
Just whilst I agree with what everybody says, just to stir up the discussion for a second. Audi come from a good pedigree of racing in 24-hour racing, etc. Right, so they've got the facilities, they've got the knowledge in-house. Doesn't that count for something? Surely that kind of can spring them midfield.
I mean, it's decent management, but management isn't the same as delivering the race-winning car.
Well, I tried.
You can have the best manager in
way
the
you
world, but if you haven't got the team behind you doing the work, then you'll be nowhere.
But they've got the factories, they've got the people, they've designed race cars, they've got a good know-how of engines. Come on, somebody humor me.
I mean, yes, they were a going entity. They took over a team who had success at points over the years. So they didn't have to buy knives and forks like Cadillac did. Like Paul's out there buying knives and forks. So yeah, I mean, I'll try to humor you and say, all right, they're not starting from scratch. Question?
Okay, nobody's buying. Fine. I tried. Honestly, I tried to think, is there anything in it? But I think we're collectively agreeing that this is still going to linger.
I think
they
it's
might
going
score
to be
some points.
a tough year for them. All right, so then, one question I have for all of you, and I'll go in mildly reverse middle order, since Az has been in the middle both times. We'll start with him. Heart over head. Rob brings this up a lot because he's a Ferrari fan, and over the years he often predicts heart over head for things to go well for Ferrari. And sometimes it does, but more often than not, he's sad like Charlie Brown, and he has to slink back home after Lucy took the football away from him again, and he couldn't kick it. So what for you three are your hopes for 2026 that may not make as much sense on paper, but definitely make sense in your hearts?
And I want two from everybody, actually. I'm just going to snowball over Brian's here. One is a heart overhead good thing that you want will happen. Heart overhead of maybe maybe even it's just a view of the losers. Who's going to stink the place out, even if you don't want to see it happen. Let's have a good. Let's have the devil and the angel on the shoulder, one of each.
All right, so
I
Az,
promise,
you're up first.
I promise I'll deliver one for Nimrod as well. So I'll take two good things and one bad thing, and I'll start from the bad thing. I want to see Max Verstappen stink up the place in Red Bull. Okay,
Stolen my one.
He's by miles still the best driver in my view. I think he's almost as good as Lewis was, or that's a good coin toss there. Coin toss there, even. English, my third language. Anyway, so that's the stinker I want to see. This season, I predicted that Piastri will finish ahead of his
Norris.
name, Norris.
Lando.
Yes, that one, Norris, and they'll both finish behind Max. And for a few moments, I was a genius, but then I was just an idiot at the end of the season. And actually, I want to see that happen. I want to see Piastri do well. I want to see him compete for the championship. I think he's got the talent. I think he's still not as good as Verstappen or as Lewis was, but I do think he's probably one of the better ones. So that's my personal one. And delivering for Nimrod, he wants to see Bottas do. And allow me to quote him. He wants to see Bottas stand on the podium, lift his hand up like Julian Assange, and saying "Thank you, Nimrod" in his hand.
I don't know.
Some of that may not be his words.
Yeah, I don't know about the "thank you, Nimrod" part, but I love that. We obviously are, Valtteri fans, so that's great to hear. Question for you though, back to your prediction. Uh, what happened to Oscar towards the end of the year? As you watched your prediction melt away, was it in here? Was it a confidence issue? Was it a second guessing? What was it? Was it something different completely?
I
Did
don't think
he?
it's mental. I
You,
don't think it's mental
so do you
because
think he
I don't think
learns from
anybody's.
that and overcomes it this year?
I think sometimes you have to hit rock bottom and you have to handle adversity. And I think stuff became real. He got to the point in the beginning. He was happy-go-lucky, had nothing to lose. He could go for it. And when stuff got real and got serious, it's hard, and you don't know which risks to take and not to take, and you think you will take risks, you will jeopardize it, but by not taking those risks, you do jeopardize it, and you freeze a bit. And that's what I think happened to him. And he's a young lad and extremely talented, and perhaps lacked some resilience that Lewis had as a kid, or perhaps some chutzpah, as they say in our quarters, that Lewis perhaps had. So I hope he overcome it. He's been there. He's seen the dark place. He's learned from it, and I hope he'll do better.
Agreed. Good ones. Those are good. I'm curious to see. You know, the Max one is fascinating. I think everybody, like Lee and Andy, kind of cheered, so I love their thoughts if that's theirs too. And for all the Max fans listening, you know, whether it's the Patriots in the NFL or the Yankees in baseball, and I know these are American examples, but we're America's leading Formula One podcast. Those people have had such great success that eventually you just start to cheer for them to not be as good, so someone else gets a chance in the spotlight. And so my point is that it's not necessarily, and maybe it is for I don't want to misquote, tell me if it is. I think, you know, people respect and know how good Max is, but it's like good enough for anybody. You've had your chance. Let someone else stand on top of the mountain. Or is it actually you just don't want him to win? You hate him.
I think it's a compliment for people to hope he doesn't do well, because he will drag a tractor around.
Right? He will. All right, thanks. So, Lee, we're going to go to you. Rob apparently added a whole bunch of stuff, so now we need one crystal ball heart overhead in a good way, and we need one that you think who's going to, you know, come out the bottom of the standings.
Okay, I'm going to start with the bad one as well. I think Liam Lawson is going to have a bad year and be replaced halfway through the season.
Whoa.
Coming straight out the gate with the big bold
shots
predictions.
fired again, man.
And I think he's going to be replaced with Yuki.
Okay. I mean, that actually makes
It would make sense.
If Yuki would say yes, but why not take a seat?
So is this on the basis of expecting Lindblad to wipe the floor with Lawson, or?
No, I just expect him to have a bad year because he's known for driving into people a little bit. I just expect him to do that a little bit more, and Red Bull just getting fed up of him, especially with the new regime. I don't think the new regime.
He could well be at the top of the front flat damage leaderboard.
Quite possibly,
because,
yes.
Yeah.
he more often than not accidentally hits the back of a car. Yeah. Okay. Wow, Lee. Wow, that was a big one. And then how about your heart overhead?
A good one.
Good way?
And this is what I was referring to earlier with the Mercedes engine customer teams. My head over heart overhead thing. Good thing is Williams winning more than one Grand Prix this year.
I'm on Team Williams too. That's mine as well. I've
been on Team Williams for the last 32 years.
Oh yeah. No. I've only been on it for a little bit.
I'm full force on them.
So can we just?
You don't want to hear mine that's coming up, then you might want to tune out when we get to me.
Put a pin in it for a second. So Lee, let's talk about this because I love this. Two of the best drivers on the grid, right? I mean, especially a great combo, Alex and Carlos. You can't go wrong. A Mercedes engine, which we have drained the bucket on how great it's going to be this year, even if Rob doesn't understand that engines are important. And so we've decided that a bad start to the year. Car wasn't ready. The survival cell couldn't pass things. At one point, they were 47,000 kilograms over. But then they published a piece of paper which no one's ever seen before, and they said they're like
4 kilos.
Yeah, they're like right there now, and I'm like, okay, but I've never seen it listed like that. So is it time for Williams? Should I buy Williams merch? Are we ready? I think it is.
I think you should always buy Williams merch.
Well, yeah. I'll throw my little Debbie Downer in here right now, then, because we're talking Williams. My horrible feeling is that they're going to have a rebound year, and last year was a high water mark, and this year they're going to be down. The tide's out this year. I think they're going to stink the place out. I really do. I don't know why. And I'm a big Williams fan. I bought my Carlos Sainz hat the other day. I got my new Williams hat, but I can't tell you why, other than pure gut feeling, that they're not going to be up in fifth this year. They're going to be fighting down the lower end.
You can't tell us why. Nothing to do with them completely failing to actually meet production deadlines and get to the first test.
Yeah, but some of that's just like, drama that the press like. I think if they turn up in Bahrain and they're ready, then it's not that.
The fact
Obviously
is
that doesn't
if,
it doesn't
right?
help, right? That doesn't help. But
you used the word if there, right?
yeah, there's still an if. I still think there's an if around that. Yeah,
but I mean,
aren't these the guys who used to have an Excel sheet to count the chassis?
Yes,
or what?
I know, and I'm all in on Vowles, and I think he's taking it all in the right direction. And last year was such a great best of the rest outside the big four, but I don't see them repeating this year. I think it's going to be a real difficult year for the Carlos and Alex. I just do.
So Lee, I'm with you, buddy. I back your heart overhead. That was mine. So we are together, and we are against Rob. So that is just let the alliance.
I don't want to. I don't want to be right. Believe me, I don't want to be right at all.
All right, Andy. How about you? What are your perspectives on things to anticipate in 26?
On my heart overhead, the way I phrased the whole Verstappen thing was I'm looking for a repeat of 2014. Completely new regulations, the engine being very important, the four-time world champion at Red Bull, who I happen to rather dislike, being paired with a new teammate, and the new teammate comes in and beats him, and he goes off somewhere else. With his tail between his legs and never wins a championship again. So,
do you want some bitter lemon with those sour grapes?
Holy moly!
I mean, could do.
Man, the minute we left the facts on this episode, it got crazy, and I'm loving it.
I mean, I will acknowledge that Verstappen has been the best driver on the grid for the past few years, but there is a possibility there were some other drivers doing as well, just couldn't quite see it because their equipment wasn't quite as good. But I don't particularly like the guy, and his attitude in many situations feeds into that. It's probably confirmation bias, but anyway. So that was that one.
All right. I mean,
is that the good one or the bad one? I'm not quite sure which one you just gave us, Andy.
It was wishing somebody to do badly, so yeah. I think that counts. Is that the bad one?
It does.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay, so what's your hope? What's your heart overhead hope for the year?
I want to see both Ferrari drivers winning races.
Yes.
Oh, good man.
Which is
good man.
Weird. I don't like Ferrari as a team.
Bad man.
I grew up with Ferrari being the enemy, and now they've got two drivers I rather like. So I'm quite disappointed to see the drivers not doing very well. So I'm not sure I want Ferrari to win a championship, but if Leclerc or Hamilton did it, I'll be very happy. So
Andy, I'm in a similar boat as you, and I've said this, like I'm becoming a Ferrari fan because I'm already a Charles fan and I'm a Lewis fan. I really respect them. And seeing them struggle like that, I didn't enjoy that. But I'm not a Ferrari fan. But now I'm kind of becoming one. Question? So I don't really know like how to take this. But I'm with you. I like your prediction, and I feel the same about those two drivers. So it would be not the end of the world if we saw them winning some races. It would be fine with me. Rob, how about you, man? You already gave us your negative on Williams, which you're so wrong about because Lee and I are
so.
right.
Yeah, I want to be. I will happily be wrong, and you can laugh at me, but I can't tell you, like I say, gut feel, and I just hope I'm wrong.
Right.
Oh, there we go. The heart overhead has to be the flags behind me. I'm getting far too excited. Well, Arsenal win the league, that's one. I'm getting far too excited about Lewis liking the new cars going back to downforce rather than ground effect.
Oh, his girlfriend's got a lot of downforce.
Famously didn't get on with... Oh, Brian, keep it at the gutter. He famously didn't get on with that era of regs. The previous regs he did fairly well in, apparently. So I'm just kind of hoping if Ferrari can give him a car that he's enjoying driving. I'm not saying he's going to go out and be the world champion, although I did on the previous episode or whenever it was. I said incoming champion Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, my heart overhead is he just wins a decent chunk of races this year, and the car is good. And yeah, that's it. Lewis to win some races. Charles can have a couple as well. Maybe Ferrari can get the constructors. Maybe Lewis can win the title. Oh, look, we've gone all in. There it is.
Not wrong.
The season is red.
Question. Kind of really honestly thinking, do you think if everybody's doing well, right? Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, and um, Max, do you think that if that group is operating at the highest level each possibly can, do you think Lewis is still competitive enough to stand on a podium next to them?
Yeah. I mean, I think he showed with his sprint race last year that he still knows how to do it. If him and the car were at one for a particular time, which last year, unfortunately, that was just once, but he can still do it. He's still a very good driver. He doesn't lose all of that. You know, him and Alonso are kind of showing that the older drivers can still bring it to the young uns. I just, and I know I'm having a second heart over head and negative one here, Brian, before I hand to you, but my optimistic is we have exactly that as that those top four, maybe even a fifth team, all creeps in, all nails the regs to the same degree, and we have epic racing where we get loads and loads of winners, and we don't know what's going to happen. My negative Nelly that's sitting alongside my Williams prediction is one team absolutely nails it, and it's a snore fest for the year. Brian, over to you.
So I have my second one is similar to Lee's negative, but it's different team. When I look at the delta between the one and the two driver, I feel like there's a couple teams where it's large, and one that's going in, it feels like the largest is Alpine. And okay, I'm reading in a little to the shakedown breakdown. Pierre did all right with that Alpine in terms of time. They have a real engine now. They don't have to load baguettes into the fuel tank. Like, this is a real deal now. And Pierre looked all right. And I've said for a long time, I think he's a pretty good driver. I don't think Franco is. And I know he burst on the scene before he became Crasher Pinto. He had some good results. So are those results still there? I don't think they are. And so my negative heart overhead is I think we see Colapinto out of his seat by middle of the year. It's also not the most stable leadership team of any F1 team. So if you look at the chaos that occurs on a daily basis at Alpine, Flavio Briatore is just going to be like, yeah, we're done with you, moving on. And I don't know who they'll put in. Lee was more thorough in his research on this than me. I just think we see Colapinto out somewhere by before the second half, after the summer break. We see a new driver in Alpine.
Boy, no, it won't be Jack Doohan.
Yeah. It will not be Jack now that he's at Haas, right? So, yeah, that's mine, Rob. I gave you my positive.
And what's your positive?
Williams.
What was your positive one?
Williams.
Okay, so Williams to do what? What is your positive with Williams?
I think Williams will win. I think you're going to see 2 race-winning drivers from Williams.
Race winning?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
It is cold there.
At 20 days, we didn't go above freezing and the temperature may vary for you. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm going. It's go bold. It's heart over head. It's not common sense.
Yeah, no, I know.
Both drivers win a race at Williams this year. And here's the thing. I kind of see what you're saying, but Vowles has put everything he's got into 26 for a while now, and either they're gonna nail it and all of a sudden they can sniff around for a win, or maybe they got it so wrong with this huge investment, they come out the bottom and it's not fifth. I'm worried there's no middle ground. They've gone so hard for this. It's either going to fail or succeed greatly. And I vote succeed greatly.
Yeah, and I like the guys chirping on this one now, but I think you're starting to pick at where my gut feel is coming from, which is you're right. They kind of openly abandoned ship and said they were going to look at the 2026 car. So they're the ones that have been preparing for it the longest, and then they were the ones that weren't even ready with a car. That just fills me with some kind of dread. And Andy is violently nodding here. So what do you?
Yep.
You agree?
Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say other than the fact that they ditched the previous regs earlier than others and they still weren't ready. I mean, maybe they've got designed something really good and it was just the production issues. I don't know, but it's still it's just not a good look missing the first test.
But
and worse than that is like if they came up, oh, we've got this great idea with this amazing aerodynamic thing. Oh, these are amazing. Yeah, we're going to win it. We're going to win the whole thing. Oh, it doesn't pass the crash test, guys. Okay, now we're going to have to strip it all back down again and go back to plan B. It's like, I know it probably wasn't something like that, but failing the crash test multiple times doesn't sound great. I'm not an expert. I have no idea if it was a minor thing and they had to tweak it but yeah, being so focused on it for so long and failing the crash, being overweight, not turning up at shakedown, it's just not filling me with good
I mean,
news
there's
recipe.
nothing wrong with failing the crash test. Is if you go back to when back when there was loads of testing and stuff. Like Michael Schumacher used to like trying to find the limit in practice sessions. Schumacher crashing in a practice session was quite common because he'd find the limit and then he'd just dial it back a little bit and then do amazing the rest of the weekend. Same with the crash test. If you're passing a crash test first time, that means you've over-engineered your car. Make sure it
Okay,
it
yeah.
fails it, and then dial it back, dial it back, dial it back, and then you just passed it. Only just passed it, and it's absolutely perfect.
I
I
mean,
just made that up. It probably makes
I love
probably
it.
makes
Hey,
nothing.
Andy, that works great. Mercedes power unit, good. Focusing on the regs for 14 years in a row before they came out, good. Two drivers in Carlos and Alex, really good. Team principal of JV, good. I mean, what's not to like except not seeing a car? But we'll get there. They're going to show up in Bahrain, please.
You also got to remember the first test normally is about a month after the shakedown happened. So the teams are working to a month less time than they normally have to build the car.
Yeah.
They're about
Good
on schedule, I would say, for a
I can't
normal
wait to
season.
see. Can't wait to see what happens.
So
All right.
I think,
Go ahead, Az.
where they are now, you wouldn't be surprised that they don't turn up at the first GP because they shipped the car to the wrong one, right? So I think
Sent the car to Austria.
Let's put another shrimp on the Barbie. All right. Any last comments from Lee, Andy, or Az?
I would like to know what people's thoughts are on the Aston Martin rear suspension attached to the rear uprights of the wing.
12.
I think it's a sort of advantage that is going to be very, very difficult to replicate and advantage locked in for ages, just like Mercedes Zero Pods concept.
That works so well.
Ooh, yeah,
Wow.
okay.
But this is newy. It's a newy. It's a newy burger.
It's a
Yeah, I
very
mean,
out there design.
ask me in
It's-
7 months.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I like the fact that it's interesting. It's doing something different. It's a tangible difference between the Aston Martin and the other cars. I don't want to see every car turning up the same. So I like it from that point of view. Whether it'll work or not, time will tell.
It's bold. I'll give it. It's definitely bold.
Yeah.
In a serious note, when they did the zero pod thing, Mercedes, I was very skeptical. And it was in a time that everybody kind of were already getting the regulation right, so it felt a bit too left field. This is the beginning of a regulation, so it might be the right time to do something quite left field. But I have zero understanding of that issue, so I can't really comment.
Well,
It was
Andy,
sounding really good up until that last
until the
sentence.
end.
That's
Like,
when you just-
except I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll stop. Andy,
None of us do.
quick one for you, fantasy wise, and not about you. Obviously, you're a fantasy guru. If you look at Rob and I, who heart over head, who performs better in fantasy this year, Vale or Saperstein?
Sap.
It's a given that Sap
Yeah, it's a
wins.
given.
Why?
I mean, unless they move away from fantasy algebra and make it interesting again, then it's Sap.
Only one of you actually cares about fantasy.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's also true.
Fact.
Which will make it that much more painful when Rob beats me this year, which is my prediction.
I hope they do tweak it. I know it's difficult. Maybe we got more cars on the grids this year, which is going to make it interesting because maybe we get a wider range. Although if Paddy, like Paul said, really struggle in their first season, they might become one that nobody even buys, other than if they need to kind of build budget.
Right, exactly. If
Sorry.
they're your $5 million budget builders, never know.
God,
I-
I hope
But
that
budget
doesn't happen
enabler enables you to buy more expensive people by buying the cheap ones and hoping they don't crash.
Right.
I remember
And
a
then
couple of seasons I did that with Sargent. I could afford Verstappen and Sargent, and no one else was doing it. It's like, aha, I can do it. I'm going to go for it. And that was the exact point at which Verstappen stopped winning and Sargent crashed every race thereafter.
Sorry, you introduced him as a fantasy guru, Brian.
He
Yeah,
is.
that's because that's how you met me when I got 26th in the world, and since then I've struggled to break into the top 10,000. But
But 10,000 or so.
I put
it's-
time into it. Doesn't mean I actually do very well.
No, man, you're always a guru in my eyes.
I'd hate to agree with Vale, Brian. He said that Premier League fantasy is so much better than this, and I haven't played it in many years, but it's simple and it works. And I played first time Formula One Fantasy this year. I was surprised a couple of times I came top 5 in our little league, right? And I probably finished somewhere in the billion worldwide overall. But it's like, it's so overcomplicated. I mean, who can care so much about it? It should be fun, should be easy. So except two bozos. I mean, yeah.
I hear you. I have to agree on one point. The better a driver does in the race, the more points you should have. And that's not how it works. So that, to me, that's the simplest test. And if you did a poor quali and then had overtakes, and then you end up with driver of the day points or whatever, and it's like, what is happening? But they didn't do as well as the other driver did in the race, but that doesn't matter. So that's my biggest challenge.
And the real killer for me was, like, man, he's had an amazing week. He must go up. Oh no, because you've got to look back 3 races and realise that a Nat farted 3 races ago, and that means you've lost all your money.
You do realise I'm to blame for that, right?
No, don't tell Rob. Don't get Rob started, Andy.
No, a few years ago, through Fan Voice, which is F1's official feedback website, I got surveyed, and this was the year I'd got 26th in the world, and talking to a couple of guys interviewed me to find out what I'd change, and I said I hate it that someone has a DNF and they just massively drop price, and you can't predict that. I think should base prices over a few races, so you just have one bad race, you don't drop loads of value. And the way they've actually implemented it, maybe they didn't foresee it, maybe I didn't foresee it, but
probably somebody else said it. It's not you. It's a bunch of other people.
Instead, it means one DNF means you lose value for 3 races rather than just one. So
we like you too much to blame you, Andy.
Way.
We like you too much to blame you for that. All right. On that admission of ruining the fantasy game by Andy, I'd like to say thanks to Lee, to Andy, to Az, and to everybody on the Discord. If you guys if you're listening and not on the Discord is what I meant to say, join it. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time, and as always, this is one of my favorite episodes of the year. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's always one to look forward to. It'd be nice to get some new faces as well. Not that I'm sick of you 3, but I know we almost had Perry on. We got some others. We're getting more and more people joining the Discord, so don't be shy. Put your name forward, and you can dislodge Az from high above Earth in his space palace or wherever he is at the moment.
Maybe get somebody who actually knows what they're talking about instead of me, right?
That rules me. That rules me and Brian out as well.
I'm that filler that you get on the talk show when the real guest doesn't come in, right?
All right.
Nice one. Thanks again, guys. Box. Oh, thank you, guys. That's, like I just said then, it's just one of my favourite episodes that we do. We always have a good laugh. It's just special. I just think that's a really special episode that we do, and I like the fact that we've kind of done it every year. So
agreed. Now I think you and I need to keep an eye on Williams. And I know it was hard overhead, and I recognize it wasn't sort of the fact-based predictions. It was what we hope happens. But man, I mean, like, this is going to be, the more we talk about it, the more it's home run or it's strikeout.
It does feel like it's go big or go home.
I hope that's not the case.
No, I know. I mean, like I said, I don't want to be right on this one. I've got a real soft spot for Williams. That's kind of why I bought myself the science cap, and I really want them to carry on building on this and see if they could cement 5th and maybe make a run at being in the top 4. But just something deep in my gut is either indigestion from last night's chili or is a view that Williams just ain't going to nail it this year and someone else is going to come in and take... Actually, we didn't ask the guys that. Let's just go down my negative Nelly route for a minute and Williams suck and finish 8th, 9th, 10th, wherever in the constructors. Who takes... Let's assume that it's Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren. Who else am I missing? Mercedes. Oh yeah, they got an engine apparently.
Apparently,
assume that nobody can break into the top 4. We'll just make that wild assumption. Who takes 5th off Williams then? Who rises and takes the opportunity?
Aston Martin.
Ooh, okay. So you think the Nui rocket with its
it's
fancy
either going to work
shapes...
or not work. I feel like it's the same as Williams. I think it's going to work.
And if both of them completely Nui tries something fancy,
Alpine?
doesn't work. Alpine, okay, Alpine. So I'm keep pushing here because I just wanted you to wanted your opinion as to whether you think Haas, because they've got better year over year, and they were really good. They were charging up there towards the
Behrman
end
looked
of last
really
year.
good last year too.
Yeah,
So
I was honestly expecting you to say Haas after Williams. Then you said Aston, and get rid of Aston. You say Alpine. So Haas are down the bottom this year for you.
last year I had Haas fifth, and I had to eat my words many times on that.
You did have to eat them too badly. They didn't exactly.
I know.
They finished sixth, didn't they? Or no,
sixth or
Racing
seventh.
Bulls.
I think they were seventh, sixth or seventh, not fifth. But yeah, I mean, what about you? What do you think? Where do you kind of see my order? I've got Williams, Aston in that area, and then I've got, if that assumption holds, then I've got Alpine as my backup, and then we can figure Caddy and Audi dropping down, and I have Haas down near there. Not as bad as them per se, but lower end. RB as well.
You think RB down as well? Because if Aston and Williams don't bring it and fall away, again, going back to the good old gut feel there, I got Haas as my going to capitalise, and I think with Toyota they're going to build upon last year. Racing Bulls, I'm going to put those into the same bracket as you've just put Aston and Williams. That I think they either hit a home run and they're right up there on the tail of the top four, or they stink the place out. And they've lost Isaac as well, who was a big force in bringing that car up last year, and he's going to be obviously in the main car now. So they could struggle. So look at us completely nailing the whole.
Right, but that's the brilliant part of this. That's what makes this so exciting. This season that we're about to have in front of us is we don't know, and there's rationale for every single team to be in the spots we just described, and there are reasons why not. And we're going to find out in less than a month when we get to Australia and see what's actually what.
Absolutely, and hopefully all you guys will come along with us on this 2026 journey. You can like and subscribe and tell your friends, and we will make 2026. The new regulations is also going to be the biggest year on the dirty side. That's also in the gut feel, Brian.
Totally.
That in there
That's not even gut feel. That's fact, baby. FACT, fact. And with that, thanks everybody for joining us for a fun Discord episode. Thanks so much for joining us in the off season. Get ready for the real season here with the dirty side. We'll talk to y'all in 1 week's time.